Mr. Norm Cohen on the left
Oh, baby.
happens to be the owner of Nerd Rage Gaming. Against Mr. Joe Chott, who we saw earlier in round one with Abzan Aggro. Norman Cohen on a Green Red Monsters list that is none other but mine.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Little strange, isn't it?
A little bit. Does Norm know how to play green red decks?
You know what?
Does
Yesterday, he piloted that deck in a 20-man Thursday Night Magic and got second. So
Wow. Pretty good evidence, I'd say.
I thought so.
Maybe Norm knows what he's doing. Sprung for a nice pair of magic pants,
I should change. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do Norm a favor. I'm going to change it to some green red dragons.
Call it what it is.
Inferno, thank you so much for following the channel, bud. We appreciate it. Thanks for joining us in chat tonight too.
Infernam.
Infernam. Ooh,
Nom nom nom.
nom 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 nom.
Fire eater.
I was about to say Inferno Ape.
Yeah, that works too.
Infernape. These two players gonna kick it off here. And so Norm really got attached to this green red dragons list. Really loved it. First of all, he wanted to get back into standard. I said, okay, let me do what I do for essentially anybody, and I will build you a deck. As I don't get to play often, we were talking about it earlier. I like to construct. You know what?
Absolutely.
I built him a green red dragon deck. He said, Andrew, I want to use Thunderbreak Regents. I said, sure, I'll allow you to use Thunderbreak Regents. Gross. Green creatures are pretty disgusting. Red creatures are okay.
Yeah.
I like blue. We'll see what happens.
I like blue, but we'll see.
But I'll make it green.
All right,
deck,
that's
so.
fair. To Norm's credit,
Yeah,
Thunderbreak is super good.
it is a good card.
So I'd snap play that card as well.
Gruel the Skies. That is an awesome name for a deck.
Absolutely.
A++ to you.
Love it.
Gosh, good job. So we see both players trading off land. Norm dropping his turn to Sylvan Caryatid with the help of some additional lands, and this will be a Rabble Master.
Yep.
So this is an interesting card to play in this deck, and a lot of people were kind of against it. It does eat removal, often as we just saw. It's also very vulnerable to Draconic Roar. The problem is this card is very devastating when unanswered.
Oh yeah, I mean that's known as well. I mean, in the past we saw red decks and Rabble Masters just auto include. I don't know if the presence of Draconic Roar detracts from that.
Sure.
I think, yeah, live a little, live on the edge,
Yeah.
play the Rabbles,
I think you have to.
get free games once in a while.
Yep.
I'm about that. That's
Totally
fine.
agree. Norm drawing another Rabble off the top here. And recently I have tried to minimize the effects of Draconic Roar against the deck, as I have removed the Heir of the Wilds and the Rattleclaw Mystics in favor of a Hexproof Sylvan Caryatid.
Yep.
And just larger threats.
Sure.
So we're gonna go big. We're trying to go bigger than our opponent here.
Just like
And once again, if
green red dragons in general. I think.
if you're trying to
adopts
minimize the mirror match effect, these are cards that help you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Norm going to kind of mull over his hand here. He's got a Rabble in hand. Looks like a Crater's Claws.
Yeah, Joe with a pretty quality threat and Anafenza on the field. So Norm, I imagine, is because he has a Crater's Claw. I imagine he's just contemplating tapping out to kill it.
Yeah, for sure. If Norm, I couldn't quite see what else he had in his hand. If he has a Roast accessible to him, the Roast will obviously probably be the better play into Rabble Master here. But he is...
Nope, guess not.
Boy, wow, I don't know if I'm 100% okay with that, but I guess he may be backing up trying to use Caryatid.
I mean, yeah, Caryatid gives him red.
But it seems really...
Maybe he has double green in some sort of...
I could probably see where he's going if he's going to attempt to resolve the Arbor Colossus he has in hand. Now, this was another card that was added to the deck to blank a lot of threats. First of all, if you guys are familiar with the Green Red Dragons list, whether it's CVM's list or a list you may have seen in your FNM, I highly suggest moving Arbor Colossus from the sideboard to the main board. It will change your matchups against the mirror match to an almost 85 to 90% win.
Yeah.
As this card blanks a ton of cards that your opponent's going to have.
Yeah, all the dragons.
Very much so. Yeah.
I'm a fan of that, yeah.
So that was one of the changes I made last night, is I moved the Arbor Colossus from the sideboard to the main board.
All right. Well, I'm a fan of that so far. Definitely forces this downfall.
Yep.
Joe, I imagine, will send in the Anafenza.
Interesting to note, Joe and Norm not remembering the trigger here, or the state-based effect, I'm sorry, on
Yep.
Anafenza.
Yeah, that Colossus is exiled.
Correct.
You know this deck, though. I mean, is that
I don't
relevant?
believe so.
So,
I wouldn't consider it necessarily relevant,
okay.
but always good to remember that your creatures have these effects and
Yeah,
are
yeah.
potentially relevant down the line.
Sure, sure, absolutely. I'm wondering if we should shout at the judge and get him involved, but I don't know. I don't think it's necessary.
We'll see a Crater's Clause here on the Anafenza, which
Yep.
was the play we were kind of expecting in a lead-off, again, with an Elvish Mystic. Now,
Eh,
I don't know if Joe is drawn really into additional threats. Can't quite see his hand. Potentially has a Surrock in hand.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, Joe's been able to keep up with Norm's plays here. I mean, he had a downfall at the ready for that Colossus. Um,
And Fernand, that's a good question. We'll talk about it after the match, if that's cool with you. If you need an answer right now, I'll give you one. It may be a short one, but if you want to wait until after the match, we can discuss that. Because, like I said, the Green Red Dragons deck is a deck I put together for Norm, and I think it's a superior deck. I think it's very good. I don't want to say it's better than the list that CVM came up with recently, but I mean, I personally think it is.
mhm.
We will definitely get to questions if you guys have them in between rounds. We'll do our best to answer what we can.
So far we've got a Rakshasa and 3 other mana in the pool.
So are we looking for a
Uh,
Dramoka's command here?
what for?
I'm not. I'm not entirely sure. We're +1/+1 counter that has hexproof, I believe. So I
Yeah, Norm
don't think he
is.
can fight target creature.
To Joe's
So
credit, yes, if he could choose the carry I would.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, fighting a Mystic and getting a counter not entirely exciting
No,
out of Dramoka's
it's
command.
not huge.
It's something.
Norm has to find gas here though, and this is kind of where the deck falters.
He's got some mana to work with.
He's tapping for a 3 here.
Got Confluence.
Yep, we're going to deploy a Rabble Master.
Um, sure.
He'll go to combat, make a token that will die to the Rakshasa.
Yeah, I would assume so. Joe gonna untap. He draws an Abzan Charm. Just kind of seeing Joe play recently here.
Yeah.
I wonder if he just like fires off this charm
I don't.
and just gives this Rakshasa more counters.
Looks like this will be the Surrock from his hand. Now
Okay.
Surrock will be able to give
Yeah,
himself haste
that's
thanks to
formidable.
his formidable ability.
Sure. All right. So I mean, this is kind of lining up for Joe here. Getting a counter on that Rakshasa to trigger his formidable, I guess,
Sure.
is a line.
Norm going to drop himself down to, I believe, is it
Norm's taking 8.
6?
Yeah, I mean, I think he pained earlier too, so yeah,
I believe
that
so.
sounds
off
about right.
The mana confluence.
Yeah,
Norm kind of in a bad spot
yeah,
here.
he's under the gun.
Abzan is a tough matchup for this deck. So if you guys do
Abs-
think that you will,
Abzan's just a good deck.
it is. It's a super good deck. If you want a very honest opinion, the Green Red Dragons deck does not have a very good matchup against Abzan.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
We have things in the sideboard to combat him that we'll talk about here as the match kind of concludes, but there's just you have to be really careful when you play against these decks.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah,
Goblin does have to attack,
and there he goes.
so he'll get in for 1. Norm will have a follow-up play in the form of another Sylvan Caryatid, so we have blockers online.
Yeah, that's a roadblock. It's a start. These Caryatids, I don't know if they're getting much better than just being on block duty, especially now that this is lethal. If
Right.
Norm lets, well, I guess if he could let Sirach through, but I don't want to be at 1
I probably
with a
don't
mana confluence
and giving up
Yeah.
our 2 sources of red.
yeah,
Though Haven of the Spirit Dragon able to provide red mana if we're casting a Thunderbreak or
right.
something similar. So we'll see an Anafenza come out. Sirach will give her
Give it
haste,
Yep.
and here are the attacks.
Yeah. Well, Norm, unfortunately, as we've talked about earlier, at that state where he has to make some very unprofitable blocks
Yeah.
to live. Really, no need to think about it.
Nope.
There's no question.
Yep.
Just unless he's just conceding the game.
Uh,
Yeah, he is because he didn't block Rakshasa.
I don't know if he. To be fair, there, I'm not 100% sure that I was about to say I'm not 100% sure he knew that Joe had the other land untapped, but he may
Okay.
have seen it.
Okay.
Sirach is indeed a good card. Sirach
Yeah.
is a very good card. So that'll be the end of game one. Norman Cohen taking a blow here, losing to Joe Chott in the Abzan Aggro. And that's something we can kind of talk about when we look at the sideboard. Because there is definitely some things we can bring in as the green-red monsters player.
There is still hope.
All right, I'll let you. Do you want to handle Norms or you want to do Joe's?
I'll do Norms.
All right, I'll handle
I
Joe's
mean,
then.
you know this deck.
All
Seems,
right.
seems unfair.
So we talked about Joe's sideboard earlier when he was featured in round one, so we'll recover it again here. He's got 2 Duress, 1 Thoughtseize, 2 Glare of Heresy, 3 Drown in Sorrow, 2 Merciless Executioners, 1 Sorin, 2 Wingmate Rocks, and 2 Elspeth. What do you like?
I like Executioner
Okay.
initially.
Yep.
I think the Elspeth Soren plan is also pretty good.
Okay.
And I think Wingmate Rock.
I kind
don't
of
know.
like that plan.
It's okay.
honestly.
Does nothing against Stormbreath. Pretty good against Thunderbreak though.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just
don't know.
think overall it's a strong ability for Joe to close out and potentially gain some life against an aggro deck.
Mhm.
So I'm almost on the plan as well of Sorin, Wingmate Rock, Elspeth in
Yeah.
this matchup. Merciless Executioner.
I just like it.
Yeah,
I like the card.
Like it, I could see the situations it'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
The problem here is we know that our opponent's playing Rebel Master in his deck, and we know he also has Caryatids and Elves. At the point where if you're trying to remove a creature with Merciless Executioner, like
You're kind of just hoping
Right.
removal's doing that anyway.
correct, yeah, or that your
Yeah.
your aggression against the person is doing that. So
No, yeah, you're right. That's a card for like the heroic decks,
I am
the
s-
singleton threats.
yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I just like it. I want to see more play.
I do like the Elspeth though, like you said. I
Yeah.
enjoy the Sorin because obviously the Green Red Dragons deck has to then split its focus between attacking me or potentially attacking the Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Elspeth is essentially an on-white board wipe, and then Wingmate Rocks. You're right. They don't do much against Stormbreath Dragon.
But
Good against
they'll-
Thunderbreak Regent.
Yeah, they crack back. I
Right.
mean, yeah, they'll
and,
just gain life
and that's
back.
kind of thing. Though, granted, we did see the Arbor Colossus, so maybe Joe will take a different route and bring in some of the hand control in the form of the Duresses or Thoughtseize.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, hit us up with that Norm sideboard, baby.
Norman Cohen.
What do we got? First 2 cards.
All right,
Snap it.
he's rocking 2 Display of Dominance.
That was the card we
Oh,
talked about.
how
We
about
think that card's good in this format? We think we're going to use that here?
I think we'd use that here.
I
Yeah.
think it's a pretty decent card.
Joe's got black removal.
Yep.
Snap it off.
Fire it up.
So we also got 2 Wild Slash.
Okay.
Meh. 1 Roast. That
Yep.
seems pretty good.
Like it here?
2 Seismic Rupture.
Yes, sir. Probably not bringing them in here.
No, I don't think so. 1 Outpost Siege, though. That seems
card.
pretty good. 1 Chandra also seems pretty good.
Correct.
2 Destructive Revelry.
No.
Didn't see many targets for that one. 2 Hornet Nest.
Snap it off.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
Card is devastating
That'll
against the
definitely, yeah, that
Abzans.
definitely eats their removal spells because you do not want to attack into that thing.
You do not.
With some Siege Rhinos or Rakshasas or Anafenzas.
You give them the choice. You say, look, you can go ahead and you can ultimate price my Hornet's Nest.
Yeah.
And I will play my other larger creatures that will actually affect your life.
Yeah, it's not gratifying.
Not to mention if they swing in with an Anafenza, you're like, yeah, that's fine.
Right.
I'll take 4 1/1 Death Touchers.
Yeah, that's pretty devastating. And to round out Norm's sideboard, we've got 2 Xenaghost the Reveler.
Yep. Things you like, baby. I think you're on it.
No. Do I like Xenaghost?
I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily like him in this matchup. I like Display of Dominance.
Yes.
I like Outpost Siege. I like Chandra. And I like the Hornet's Nest. I will outdraw my opponent. For sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not only that, but Chandra allows us to get easy damage through. If we're going to use, as you can see, Guthrie pointing out, baby, your life total is a resource. Let's put that Chandra to use. Let's ping him for 1, ping one of his blockers, and get in some extra damage. Or let's have her give us a free card.
Yep. Absolutely.
I like it.
Super good.
We'll see game 2 kick off here as the opponent's ready. Norm Cohen going to be on the play. He was on the play last game, and normally the deck does fairly well when you're on the play, especially if you can land that turn 2 Rabble Master. That's really
Yeah.
just a kickoff play.
Well, Norm, with I guess a slower start, his turn 2 was Caryatid. His turn 3 was Rabble, so
Yeah.
right on time, I guess. But
Sure.
Joe at that point had the answer.
Display of Dominance is not a cute card. That is a card that is pretty good against the hero's downfalls and things like that.
Yeah, I mean when the colors are relevant,
Yep.
That's a blowout card for sure.
So we'll see a
Here we go.
force here going into
Yeah,
Elvish. So if we have the follow-up now for
that's the start
a
we
Rabble
want.
Master, that's something that we'll be happy to play with. Forcing Joe to have the well, first of all, not have a tap land.
Yeah, rough start. Norm's hand looking pretty green though, except for that Crater's Claw he just drew.
Yeah.
Does have the red source in a temple, but that Rabble's gonna still just have to wait a turn.
Now Norm has to be careful here. Joe did bring in Drown in Sorrow.
Norm,
Wow, showing discipline, getting in the free point of damage.
Norm about to pass before realizing that Mystic was raring to go. Hits Joe to 19. Dig it.
Yeah, it's a super good way to point it. This game is solely about advantage.
Oh, yeah,
advantage on the advantage both in draw on the hand and on the field.
Yep.
See Joe showing some discipline here, leaving mana up. Let's see what Norm decides to respond with. This is for 4. We will see a Surrak. Passing the turn. No ultimate price yet.
Nothing yet.
I can't imagine that this guy, Joe's got to have removal for him. We all know Surrak's a pretty good card.
It's a start, that's for sure. Getting in for free 5 points of damage is not where I want to be.
It looks like Joe Chott's going to take a fetch here, because I have to imagine that is what's happening, dropping down to 18.
Are there any other ways to look at your deck?
Isn't there one? What's that orb that lets you look at like the top card of your library?
A Lens of Clarity?
Yeah, I figured Joe was just going crazy with Lens of Clarity. He's like, this is the top card. No, this is the top card.
That's fair.
I get to see everything.
Didn't you know?
Joe now with 3 mana. He tries to play an Anafenza here. Norm has a good play, followed up with Crater's Claws.
Yep.
And then getting in for 6.
Yeah, that Crater's Claw looking pretty spicy, especially if I can just throw it at Joe's face. But I imagine he's playing an Anafenza.
And we're probably going to remove that.
And that's got to go.
Now, the thing is, I hope Norm did not remove the Rose and potentially brought in an additional one. We just saw him flip over a Sarkin Dragon Speaker there. So if we hit a red source, we're golden.
Boom.
There's a fetch. Now, this is a play I like.
Sarkin.
Let's hold back. I like the Sarkin here instead of the Crater's Claws. Let's hold back the Sarkin.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Hold the claw.
Hold the claw.
Deploy the Sarkin.
Deploy the Sarkin. We'll see a roast though.
Or we can just roast.
Good.
That's
super
fine.
good play. Let's get in.
Bash
Getting in for 6.
Mm.
Baby, we're putting that elf to work.
Yeah.
Elvish Mystic is not even about producing mana.
Getting in for all beats.
I love it.
It's definitely a new role for him.
Yeah, he's brand new.
He's loving it.
So this is interesting.
So I mean, yeah, Norm's got a lot of endgame stuff here at the ready.
Yeah.
Crater's Claw to the face.
This will be a Siegington?
I mean, yeah.
Yep.
It's turn 4. You got your mana. You're playing Siege Rhino.
17 to 15 though. The draining gain not really doing a lot as Surrak puts in some work.
Yeah, I imagine now that this Rhino will just get removed. Just for additional crackback. And is that an additional Crater's Claws?
That is an additional Crater's Claws in Norm hand. So Norm can take kind of some interesting approaches here.
I think we just kill that Rhino.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with just destroying the Rhino, playing Surrak, and getting in. We've seen very little from Joe. He's only deployed 1 threat at a time. Let's use the cards we have in our advantage. We have a backup Crater's Claws in case we see another one of these things. But we're hitting for 6. So. Whoa.
Ooh.
Joe Chott firing off the gun there. Norm's gonna go fetch. He's untapping, baby.
What's the card? The Crew Fix. The one that lets you untap.
Oh, Prophet Crew Fix.
Yeah, going a little Prophet crazy.
Little Prophet of Crew Fix Seedborn Muse action happening.
You don't even need Prophet on the battlefield.
It just happens.
Just untap.
If you invoke the name of the card, you just get the effect.
I'm about that. I could play that game.
You like that?
Could have some fun with that one.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not against you though.
Come on, man.
All I'd do is name a card and you just be like counter it.
Oh, are you talking about Metal Magic?
It has to be a different counter every time though, but you're still
Sure. I'll play that game.
All right, I'll mana leak it. All right, I'll negate it. I'll void snare.
Dismiss it.
Get rid of that.
Get it out of here.
You know what? I'll scorn it.
Last word it.
You know what? I'll scorn that Force Spike style.
Hey, by the way,
and then I'll Force Spike.
How many spells you just play? I'm gonna overload Counterflux.
There you go. That's the tech.
We'll see an attack here. Norm deciding not to remove the Rhino and instead get in with our Flying Dragon Overlord.
All right. No, that's...
Dropping Joe down to 11 here.
That's something. Sarkin
I'm
goes
not
over the
I'm
Rhino.
not completely against it here, as we can use our Surrak to trade with
The Rhino.
the Rhino.
Sure.
Joe does, I believe, have Hero's Downfall in hand,
Yeah.
so it'll be like an interesting line how he's going to attack it here. He can Hero's Downfall the Surrak and get in for damage. But man, I can imagine this is going to be a main phase Hero's Downfall unless he wants to kill the Surrak to get in. But that
I think a main phase downfall is. I mean, if Joe has any regard for attacking with this Rhino.
Force of Will exiling Days. Look at this. Infernum's getting
Yeah,
into
but
it
then
now.
you just lost Days. I mean,
Yeah, you don't want to get rid of Days.
that's some tech. You can discard any blue card
now
for
I'm gonna,
Force
now
of
I'm
Will.
gonna
I'll
use,
allow it.
Ooh, we'll see Dramaka's command here.
All right.
Okay. good
Finally,
play.
a command I think is good.
Yeah.
I enjoy.
And this still leaves us
Display.
mana up for the Hero's Downfall.
And that Rhino is still alive.
Yes, it is.
So see, now that, guys, is a good Dramoka's command.
That is a strong Dramoka's command there. So Joe's trying to figure out if he wants to attack or not.
Oh, he's definitely attacking. I think hitting Norm, because he's got that downfall at the ready. Doesn't need to fire it off now, though.
Though he is going to be losing 2 life to this. Dropping down to 9.
Just wait till he pluses it. Okay.
All right.
All right.
For some reason... Oh, got to find the 9 there.
Or 10? No? Maybe
He was at 11, correct?
I think so. Well, no, he's got Sand Step, so
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's 1 black. Yeah, he's just takes 1.
So now Norm in a risky situation here as this Rhino just got bigger.
Yeah, it's a tough Rhino.
It is a very big Rhino.
Mystic, though, no fear.
Getting in for 9. Norm has to make sure if he's going to cast this thing, he's got to cast it now.
Yep.
We're going to tap for 3. Leaving a red open, we will deploy. Oh,
Yep.
baby.
Wish I had that.
Is there removal in Joe's hand or not?
Wish
So
I had-
the Rhino does have trample
Wish
still.
I had that downfall.
Oh, man. He might have removal. He does he? Does he have removal
I
for
don't
this
think
thing?
so.
That'll make a bunch of bees.
Doesn't look like it. Well, what is it, 0-2?
It is a 0-2.
Alright, so I'll get 2 bees. Thanks to Trample.
I would see where Joe likes to deploy that damage first. I think is.
I guess.
Is he?
I mean,
Okay. He might have just realized
he
he
technically,
signed
yeah,
the 2.
he doesn't have to deal all his damage to the nest.
Oh,
Thanks,
man.
Trample.
It's all right.
I'll take 2 bees. That's fine.
I guess we can play that green creature that makes all of our, or the red creature. I'm sorry. The Eidolon of Aggression that makes all of them lose trample and all of our creatures gain trample.
Oh yeah, Archetype of Aggression.
Archetype of
Yeah,
Aggression.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's super deep.
We don't have. Yeah. That's tech that we're not bringing up.
Seems loose.
We don't have the damage yet to just claw him out at this point.
No, slightly off thanks to No More Formidable.
Right. I think Joe Chott deciding not to attack into the bees.
Wow. I think you attack into the bees.
I think you definitely attack into the bees. You are an aggro deck, sir.
You could make the case that Joe is afraid of this Mystic, though. I mean, wants a blocker.
Well, now do we have enough damage to Crater's Claws?
Well, we got 6 mana at the ready. Maybe 7 if Norm has the land. I don't think so, though. Yeah, no, he's going fetching.
Interesting.
And-
Dropping down to the 10.
Yeah, so not enough mana to kill the Rhino with claws. Enough though to shoot his own hornet nest and get a
We do have 2 claws. I agree.
pretty
So,
hefty number of bees.
Yeah.
So
The thing with that plan is like
I mean, it's you're 2 for owing yourself, whatever. But you're getting
you're
5 bees. I mean,
No. I think the question in Twitch chat was why are we not just Crater Clawsing to Joe's
to his
dome?
face. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's fine. I mean,
Now that he's not attacking, yes, I am just shooting him in the face.
yeah.
And
we're
then
just
next turn, shooting him in the face.
Yeah, we're just firing these things off, and I have to believe that's what Norm's going to do. Dome you.
boom.
No,
not the Rhino.
Doming you.
Your face, sir.
I believe that's for 6.
Yeah, that'll be 5.
Dropping down to 4.
Yup. Ouch. Hope you don't have another one.
Oh boy, did
says
Joe just
Joe.
down a hero's downfall though?
That's fine though. He's
He's
dead.
still dead.
Yeah.
But still. Bees.
2 claws Norm.
Sorry. Infernum. Hornets. Buzz.
I'm about hornets.
Are you?
Like I said, I'd claw my own
about that hornet. Well, yeah,
Just
you
to
did.
keep the game going.
That was a line that you were about to take. I will claw my own hornet's nest to produce death touchers.
I wouldn't actually take it. I think it'd be amusing though. Let me
might
just
take
clarify
it.
that. Yeah, seems super fun.
Depends if I'm playing tokens.
It's
I might just
FNM.
snap that off.
I would.
So we're gonna see a tap for 2, 3. If we're casting the hero's downfall, that's a pretty easy tap. Bye, bees.
Sure.
Norm says, "All right, you got my bees.
Great.
What else do we have?"
Can you deal me 10?
Oh, we're dropping down to 3.
Oh, that's fine. You're still dead.
Oh,
that's it.
baby.
You got him. Take
that
10.
it?
Oh,
1, 2, 3, 4.
man.
The Surrock. So this is the reason why we kill.
I was right.
Yeah, I mean that was it.
You gotta claw your nest, guys. Obviously.
That was the play, was to claw the nest.
How did you not see that? Duh.
Oh,
Man.
jeez.
Wow, ripping it. Sirach.
Oh,
Pretty
man.
good there.
What happened?
Dang.
I can't even. I didn't even
Man.
think he had a Surrock in hand.
Norm was like, all right, what do I bring in for game 3?
All right, so
How do I deal?
how do I win this match?
And then Joe,
1-2.
Joe's just like, don't worry about it.
As you can see,
dead.
as you can see here, Norm deciding to kick Joe out of the store so he can never return, banning him. No, but this is a hard matchup for us.
Yeah.
For the Green Red Dragons deck, it is a very tough matchup against Abzan. There was a turn there where I think Norm had the ability to remove a Rhino or play Sarkin.
Yeah,
You remove the Rhino.
I think so.
Joe
yeah.
is slowly dropping threats. Let's go ahead and be proactive here
Yeah, just keep his board clean.
and keep his board clean.
Yep.
I think that's what you have to do. I mean, you get to that. I mean, it was still fairly early in the match, but let's go ahead and use the removal that we have to kind of seal the deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that last turn where Norm just tapped out for the claws too, the case can be made that you can leave up your Mystic
Sure.
as a blocker just because it's still lethal with your next claw anyway.
Yeah.
But that's only if you have... Because, I mean, Surrock arguably the only real threat with reach or haste
Sure.
when you think about it. And if you're not ready for it or not playing around it, then Norm's line there makes sense.
Yes.
But now there's the consideration of maybe just to be safe, I need to leave up a blocker.
Coincidentally,
My claw will still
would we
get
been
you into-
alive had we left the Elvish Mystic up?
Yeah.
We would have, because we could have blocked the Surrock and then just still clawsed him to death.
Yep.
Amazing. Elvish Mystic. Jeez.
He got greedy.
That's crazy.
Tapped out.
Tapped out fully. So I think that's the definitive line there is making sure that if your opponent is slowly playing threats and you don't really see a whole lot of action from the Abzan player as far as drawing cards or things like that, let's go ahead and remove whatever creature they're deciding to play.
Yeah.
We know that Sarkin is a 4/4 dragon when he comes down, regardless of what he's doing. So he's getting in, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And Joe was playing a very tap-out style, so I think you look towards that as a way to approach the match.
Agreed.
Boy, good game, though.
No, yeah, it
Very
was. I mean,
interesting.
that could have gone the other way easily.
Oh, totally.
I could have seen Norm taking that game too.
Yeah. It was
It's
a very close game, that's
yeah,
for sure.
I mean, that's definitely a lesson.
So we had a question earlier during the round